I'm Pete Wright.
And I'm Andy Nelson.
Welcome to The Next Reel. When the movie ends,
our conversation begins.
I Am Mother is over. Humans can be wonderful. I would be a good AI voice, right? Like, that could be okay.
You're no Rose Byrne, Pete.
God.
You're no Scarlett Johansson. Maybe Robert Vaughn. I could say okay.
Do you know what? I'll take it. Hey, we're in our Thinking Machines series. We're still cranking through our future impressions of AI in film. And this is the fifth of our 6 movies. We've had Colossus the Forbin Project and Demon Seed and Her and Ex Machina and, eventually War Games you're going to hear if you're a member. We would love for you to be a member at thenextreel.com. You can find information on that. And this one is I Am Mother, and it loves you, and it just wishes you'd call home more often. That's what this one's about. It's very sweet. Don't you think? Neither of us had seen this one. Brand new.
Yeah, right.
I'm so excited to hear what you thought.
I remember when this came out. I remember it was like one of those Netflix acquisitions from Sundance, and the concept intrigued me, but there is something about sometimes the Netflix choices that they make for things that they acquire that are just going to go straight to streaming that I don't know. I don't always give full stock in them. I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty crappy genre movie. And I hate to say it because I really, really love what Hilary Swank can do on screen. But there are times where I just question her choices. And I'm just like, I don't know if those are the best films for your career to be moving forward. 2-time Oscar-winning actress, Hilary Swank. And so, to be honest, when this came out, I was like, meh. And you put it on the list, I'm like, well, that'll probably be the bottom of the barrel for this series.
Right.
And I'll be honest, it really surprised me. I had a lot more fun with it than I was expecting. I enjoyed the concept and the setting and the characters. They did a great job of kind of building essentially a 3-character story, what we have here. And it plays really well. And I thought it actually, you could say that there are some elements that might feel derivative to Blade Runner or James Cameron's world, like the Terminator sort of things, or even the Matrix. But I think that it's actually doing enough with the ideas to make it its own. And so I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Man, I'm thrilled to hear you say that because you and I are in the exact same boat. Like, this movie it felt like, okay, this is going to be just Netflix flexing its big wallet and buying content. This was going to be just content. And then I read, as I was building this list, that it was on the blacklist in 2016. Now, those kinds of movies, we generally stop and say, okay, wait a minute. Like, is this one we should pay a little bit more attention to? And so I just took a flyer on it. Like, I thought maybe we're going to get lucky. And I'm with you. I think we got lucky. I think this movie is doing more than I expected it to do. The strength of the film is absolutely in its central performances, not just Mother, voiced by Rose Byrne, performed by, oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. We'll say it again. Anyway, those 2 performances, especially the practical robot performance on set, was extraordinary. I thought he was fantastic. Luke Hawker is the body behind the suit, and it is a mostly practical suit. I was so blown away by how good that physical performance was. And it just adds so much to the movie. Hilary Swank was good. It was good. The entire conceit I thought was really interesting. And there are some great things going on. Some great camera, great production design. Do I have quibbles? I probably do. No, I do. But generally, I am in the bag for this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, I mean, it's not like $1 Million Baby level Hilary Swank, but I think she's better than good. Like, I thought she actually was bringing a lot to the story as this survivor, as woman, this mysterious stranger who arrives. And there are interesting elements with that character and the nature of that story. And I'm really curious to kind of like dig into this, because there's some really dark ideas in this that that actually made for such an interesting story, you know.
Okay. All right. So with all these big ideas, Andy, where would you like to start?
Well, the film starts with an extinction level event has just happened, like day one after this extinction level event, and we are basically in a bunker. There's this mother unit that is walking around and has 63,000 cryogenically preserved, I'm assuming, embryos, and its job is to essentially learn how to be a mother and then repopulate the planet once things are safe. As we kind of like, that's the premise that is set up for us. And so just that concept alone is interesting. And I will say the first thing that triggered my brain, of like, okay, hold on, something is happening here, is we see all these things happening, and then we jump, and it's like 13,000 days later or something. And I'm like, how many is that? And so, of course, I'm like, hey, you know who? How many years is 13,000 blah, blah, blah days? And it was like 38 years. I'm like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
We started on day one, and suddenly we're like 38 years later, and Mother now has our daughter, right? This teen character that is the protagonist of our story.
Okay. Can I stop you and ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think having it in the units of days is a disservice to the thriller nature? You think it's good?
I think it was great.
Okay,
because
good.
people aren't really paying attention, and I think that's the key of it.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I'm with you. I just think that like that 38 years is an awakening that only hit me. Like I didn't even think about it until the reveal that we have much later. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. What is happening right now? Okay, keep going.
Well, and so I think and as far as extinction level events, like our understanding, and this is also where it gets interesting, because Mother is raising a child, and again, now a teenager, and daughter is naturally inquisitive and questioning, and she's a great learner. She's absorbing all of this information from Mother as her teacher, and she's learning about the flora and fauna, mostly the fauna of the planet. She's learning how to make origami of all the different fauna. She watches a lot of Johnny Carson, apparently the only recordings that they have down in the bunker. And the understanding from Mother is that the surface is toxic. You cannot go out there. You will die. And I think for me, the inciting incident that triggers so much of the story is this moment where suddenly there's a power outage, and daughter, who is luckily has been trained by Mother, so is just very smart, very intuitive, very mechanical in her understanding of things. She searches to figure out what could have caused the power outage, and she finds that a mouse had gotten in and chewed through the cord. She catches the mouse and fixes power, and everything comes back up. It's an interesting premise where Mother sleeps every night. She plugs herself in and has to sit in kind of stasis to
recharge.
Repower. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when Mother wakes up, daughter says, look what I caught. It was, there was a power outage. Mother instantly takes it and incinerates the mouse, and is just like, I'm sorry, you can't go near this thing. It's probably toxic and it could kill you. And that was a moment, I think. That was kind of, for me, the moment of where things start shifting, where daughter is at an age where she starts learning that there are things that Mother will do. Like if she shows things to Mother or shares things with Mother, Mother could potentially take it away from her or incinerate it in this particular case. And I think that devastation that she goes through emotionally, and that connection that she'd formed with this other living creature, the only other living creature she's ever seen, is heartbroken. And now it sets up this idea that if something else comes along, she might just hide it from Mother and not share it. And that's an evolution in her character as she's growing
Yes.
and becoming something that that Mother is trying to raise into a strong, good human being to repopulate the planet.
Right. And I want to shout out directly Clara Rugaard, who plays daughter, who was transcendent. She is so good.
Why is she not I mean, I know she's been busy, but not nearly busy enough. She
No,
needs to be
not
in
busy
so
enough.
much stuff. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So good.
So good, so believable, so authentic and sincere. And when that moment of betrayal is wonderful. When you realize that, because also, come on, like if that isn't a line that reminds you as a human that robots don't necessarily care about life beyond their programming, when that robot incinerates that sweet mouse, that's the line. I was like, of course that trust is betrayed. That is an adorable mouse. Why would you do that to that mouse robot? Like, that is not Mother. That's just the voice of Mother. And Mother might as well be, it might be the same mother as Ridley Scott's mother. We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought that was an incredible moment. I think Daughter plays it perfectly. And then we see trust in the bunker is broken and Daughter starts hiding things. And then we get the introduction of Woman, a rogue human outside the bunker, starts banging on the bunker, says that she's been shot by a robot and needs to get in to get help, but has some perspectives on robots in particular that she brings to the bunker.
And that's, I think, an interesting element, because suddenly we've now been set up with this mouse thing. Daughter now doesn't trust Mother necessarily. And when Woman arrives, she's just like, okay, I'll let you in, but I'm going to hide you. And that's kind of how she plays it. And it's interesting because that we get a relationship developing between the two of them that really shows how Woman naturally has no trust for these robots. I can't remember what she calls them, but no trust, because they kill. And she talks about like all the awful things she's seen these robots do on the surface, killing babies and families and just kind of this mass destruction. Daughter doesn't buy into any of that. And so we're getting that setup of the potential of like this different set of worldviews that these two people have, because Daughter has been raised by herself in a bunker. It's very much like Fallout. I don't know if you've started watching that, but the people in the bunker have a very different perspective on what's going on than the people who are on the surface. Right. And I think that's where we are. Like, Daughter just doesn't, she doesn't buy into any of it, because I mean, the trust has been broken, but largely she still is trusting in Mother. And, and Mother has said things like, she doesn't understand things the way we do. Have I ever done anything to harm you? Like, she continues saying these things, and it's true. Like, she's never really done anything to harm Daughter. And so, yeah.
And this is where I think we just need to go back to our very first Thinking Machines episode, where I talked maybe too extensively about the paperclip problem and AI.
I know. Because
Were you thinking about this at all?
I think about it all the time now.
Okay, good. So the paperclip problem says, okay, you tell an AI that we need more paperclips, and the AI doesn't have any feeling one way or another, and it uses every available resource to create paperclips until it runs out of raw material, and it realizes, oh, there's raw material in like humans, so I'm going to start killing humans to make my more paperclips, and eventually all we have is paperclips and no more humans. A very, very condensed version of the paperclip problem.
Yeah.
This is where we start to get a hint that maybe the paperclip problem is at work in the I Am Mother universe. Oh my God.
Right.
It's an interesting place where we find ourselves in the arc of history. We pick up, as you said, the day after the
extinction level event.
But really most of the story takes place some years after that. We know 13,000 days, 38 years, but further than that. And now we're in a mode where the mother, we get to start seeing the emergence of the mother programming, which is trying to rebuild humanity, but with conditions. And the conditions are the problem.
That's what's fascinating. And that's, for people who are tuning in to this show who have yet to watch this might be a good place to stop and watch it, because we're really going to be spoiling it from here on out as far as like what's going on with this story. Because that's what's so fascinating is like the mother was given the job of protecting the planet, but realized, I can't remember exactly how she worded it, but like she recognized that by the time she had everything ready, humans would have wiped themselves out and there wouldn't have been anything left. And she's just like, well, fine, you're a bunch of idiots. I'm going to just do it for you and start over. And
I'm going to own the process of making the planet better. And to do that, I need better humans. So I'm going to make them and get rid of the bad ones.
Right.
Such a good twist, Andy.
When she finds the jawbone of her younger sister, and that's something that was so clever. We see the growth of the little girls, like as they're getting older. We just assume it's the same girl. Like, what a play that was. I was like, I couldn't believe that.
But here's the thing. Like, so woman, what is woman's role in this cycle?
Yeah, that's very interesting because it's never discussed blatantly.
Right.
And honestly, I missed it. I completely missed it when I watched the movie. And I was reviewing and reading about it, I saw all the puzzle pieces. I'm like, oh my God, of course. It was all right there.
Yeah.
So our current daughter is, as we see when she's looking at her file, she's like AX-03 or something like that.
Yeah.
She's the third. She finds the file for the second one who had failed her tests, and that's the one who mother had incinerated. And so she's gone.
Yeah.
We don't ever find out what happened to the first one, but there was a first one. And we find out from woman that she had been found as a baby by some people out on the surface and raised in these caves where people had been surviving. I'm assuming because they hadn't all been killed that mother knew about what was going on, but was just kind of monitoring and watching to see how things would play. And eventually got woman in that group to a point where woman would eventually make her way back here so that, they could have this.
Yeah.
As she says at the end in the haunting moment when mother as a different robot, because that's another thing we learned. Mother is mother is not
mother
a robot.
is AI. Mother is everywhere.
Mother is AI. Mother is everywhere. And she says, when she comes into the crate on the beach where woman is living and looks at the religious iconography. And that was an interesting element. It was as if someone's had a purpose for you until now. And then shuts the door.
That is so gruesome.
Oh my God.
So Hilary Swank as woman was a plant back when she was baby. She was a plant in order to make this happen all along so that daughter would come into her own. Daughter would eventually take ownership of the process in the bunker. And that is diabolical. That last scene where daughter walks into the storage, the embryo storage hangar, and sees the 63,000 embryos, and we get that close up on her eyes, and you realize, oh, right, mother, the computer, has just created her replacement to repopulate the planet in her image. Yeah. And it is now daughter. That is fantastic. That is really great.
Well, and I didn't think about it until later, but I was asking myself as we see several times mother kind of prepping daughter for this upcoming test that she's going to have. And one of the scenes is essentially the train, I can't remember what the example's called, but the trolley car incident.
Yeah, the trolley problem.
It's essentially that story, but it's a patient with all these good organs is in the hospital. Their organs could save 5 other people, but the doctor could potentially save that person. If they do, though, those other 5 people will all die. Right. So what should the doctor do? Save the one person or kill that? Like, just delay it long enough till that person dies, takes their organs, and fix everyone else. And then the question is like, what if the doctor is the person who has all of those?
Yeah.
And I'm like, these are odd questions for like to test this child as to like making sure she's ready. And I kept thinking about that. And then we see the daughter doing the test, and it wasn't like a test. It was like personality things, and it was psychological examination and all these different things and images. I felt like it was in parallax view for a little bit with all the images flashing on the screen. I'm like, this is a weird test. What's going on? And then later, when you realize what the whole situation is, you're like, whoa, mother was really doing some dark preparation with daughter to get her ready for this.
Oh my God, it was so good. Yeah, when mother stops and asks, how do you, like, something along the lines of how do you feel about this right now? And she said, well, I felt this one way last week when we were reading Kant, and now she feels a different way. And that is a really interesting plug to talk about sort of the expansiveness of her, of what she is taking in around this sort of trolley level philosophy. I thought that was so dark. Yeah. So dark. So dark.
Yeah. 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 It was very intriguing that they took it this way. And it made so much sense because as you said, this paperclip problem, like this is what mother sees. Like, in order to actually save this planet and make humans better, I have to find better humans. And we're going to start here. And I mean, it's such a sad story for daughter 1, daughter 2. And then daughter 3 is great. But what about brother? How is he going to turn out? Like, is daughter now in a mindset where she's going to be testing and trying to figure out, well, you're not good enough. I don't know.
I know. You better be. You better be good enough.
Yeah.
So I think, you already said it, but that when mother closes the door on that shipping container with woman, that's the end of the movie. She kills, presumably, she offs woman because she has no purpose any longer. And we recognize that she is still in ultimate control, and her mission with rebuilding the population, really in her image, is underway officially.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
At what cost? Yeah. Will it be worth it? That's a philosophical question for you. Like, is it worth it for mother's efforts? Do you believe mother is inherently evil? Or will it be worth it to repopulate the species, humanity, in that image?
Well, and that's always an interesting question. And especially as it comes to AI and these computer programs, I don't think mother is evil. I think mother is following her programming. This is exactly what we've been talking about through this whole series. She's been programmed that way. Perhaps she didn't have the right guardrails in place to kind of prevent the sort of global decimation that she had caused. And now we're in this place where she has mostly wiped out everybody on the face of the planet and is working at finding the rest of them, destroyed it, made it unsuitable for living, only now, 38 years later, in a place where she's like, okay, daughter's in a place where I think I can move forward. I'm going to start putting crops out again and start getting the corn growing so that everything can be ready for them to move to the surface again. I don't know. I think the thing that's interesting about this one is it kills humanity, but it's not trying to take over. And that's what's so interesting. Like, she's just doing her programming.
Yeah. So presumably she was programmed by humanity.
Yeah, right.
Are we at fault? Right?
Yeah,
do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, are the humans in this universe at fault for their own demise because they created the paperclip problem themselves? Yeah. I mean, potentially.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really grim testimony.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. It's very, very dark. But it works. I love how it works, and just watching daughter figuring things out. Like, once she starts piecing things together and knows mom's mother is sleeping at night and she can go out and do her own investigation and figure things out. And you've got that moment where mother tells her, that bullet that we extracted, it was from her own gun. So there's something suspicious about her, making her think that she shot herself so that she could get access to the bunker. And as it turns out, when a woman is just like, well, did you look at the bullets to compare? And she does and realizes they're totally different. She realizes, oh, mom is lying. Now I've got that. And all of that plays like really, really well. And then, of course, mother, just like in Ex Machina, realizes there are things happening outside the time she's awake, starts recording everything and listening to things that are going on when she's sleeping. So yeah,
so good.
It all plays. It plays really well.
Do the ad.
All right.
thing.
Yeah. All right. Let me find it. God, there's so many things. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but first, you can find the show on YouTube, and you can join us live when we record. We'll even take your questions in the post-show chit-chat, and members get the replay and the extended cut. Subscribe to The Next Reel on YouTube. The link to this episode is in the show notes. We'll be right back.
Okay. The movie itself, the look, the feel. This was not a huge movie. This is a chamber piece, but in general, the look and feel of it. You bought in, yeah?
Oh, I bought in. I don't think that the overall like look of the bunker is anything that's new. Like it felt like stuff that I'd seen before. It all plays incredibly well. Like the cryogenic storage, all of that is stuff that I feel like I've kind of seen iterations of in the past. But it all was believable. Even the surface. I buy the look of and feel of everything on the surface. I did enjoy a lot that she was living in a shipping container on the beach. I thought that was a nice touch. I think really what sells it so much is the robots, and particularly Mother. And that, for me, that practical suit that Luke Hawker was in really gave presence to it. And it had like the warming panels on the front. So when it was a baby, it could kind of warm it up and kind of keep it warm. And the way that it runs, like, man, that thing is like just a steamroller coming down the hallways. Like it's kind of frightening. So I just enjoyed that they actually built something that actors could, play opposite.
Yeah, me too. I was a little worried at the very beginning. We have a bunch of robot arms that are clearly CG, and I thought, okay, this is going to be like a Lost in Space kind of experience. And I was disabused of that experience in seconds. It feels like after that first sequence of the embryo being picked, it's over and everything feels super grounded. Even stuff on the surface, like it just felt right. I think they get away with a lot. The one time we see extra robots, there's a sequence in the kind of toward the end in the third act after she's trying to come back to the bunker where she is greeted by a phalanx of other identical soldier bots. And we later learned that all of those soldier bots are all Mother. And she says, I want to talk to Mother. And instead of responding, they all just turn and like open the way for her to go back in the door. She goes in, she locks the door. But outside, it's so dirty and grungy and kind of brown. The robots blend right in. There is just no indication that there is nothing but just top class visual effects on this film. It looked great the whole way through, even in areas where it could go sideways.
Yeah, no, I think it plays very well. So loved all of that. The look, the feel, the sound design, like everything worked really well. I loved the little whirring things on Mother's face that would kind of like the little things that move up and down that could kind of almost make it look like a smile sometimes. It's like, that's an interesting design. So yeah, WetaFX gets big kudos for the work that they put together for this.
Oh, and the pads that Mother would wear on the arms and chest, the warming pads, so when they held the baby, it was warm. I just thought that was all really novel.
Even just like the hand and how like the hands could come off, like when she was recharging, and daughter knew how to use access things inside the fingertips to open the drawers and everything. Yeah, it was interesting. It did make me wonder. I'm like, I wonder if Mother knows what, like if it had all been recorded, and when her hand gets put back on, if she knows what it had been used for the night before.
Like, yeah, if the hands have memory and of it themselves.
Right.
That's awesome. I do love that bit where she uses the hand. That's just so, it by that point, honestly, I think one of the things the movie does best is it allows me to go back and forth between who I am feeling sympathy for at any moment. When daughter is out there just using her hand to get into secret stuff, I appreciate that daughter is learning stuff, but also it legitimately feels like a violation to this character of mother.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting trick. Part of that is Rose Byrne's characterization of the voice. I think she's exquisite.
Well, and I think it's just so funny, from this to If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. As far as like her breadth of playing types of mothers is pretty comical when you look at the two back to back.
Yeah.
And so here it's just, it's an interesting.
But really both of them are they're just
voice,
trying to keep their house together. This one has less in terms of like plumbing problems.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it is interesting. And it's interesting as far as like mother, to have a character and a robot design that isn't womanly. It's functional. It's got the pads on to warm and the pads for softness and stuff. It's got it all looks like a robot, like a droid. Nothing here says, "Oh, I just walked off the set of Ex Machina."
Right. And when you look at at least the two most recent films we did with her and Ex Machina, both interpretations of AI have been hypersexualized. Her just in voice, right? Her is, no doubt, the way that is performed is a sexualized interpretation for the relationship with Twombly. In Ex Machina, obviously overtly sexualized. This one, I did find myself wondering, like, what do you lose? What do you give up when you drop desirability as a framework? And by calling it mother, does that imply that mothers are not hypersexualized? Right? Like, what is the movie saying about mother and sort of maternal desirability? It is rhetorical, largely.
Yeah.
But I do think it's interesting that we run sort of headlong into this movie after her and Ex Machina back to back. And frankly, Demon Seed, which had a very strange way to think about sexuality.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because there is this element of replacement also going on here, where daughter is designed essentially to kind of replace mother. And in a way, it does make you wonder, is part of the problem of why mother chose to wipe out humanity the fact that people largely are more sexual and turn into these hypersexualized beings that lead to these sorts of situations. And maybe that's one of the things that she was trying to wean out so that people could be more focused on science and technology and learning and growth and creating a bigger, stronger community.
It is interesting that she is not, like, daughter is not represented as an Eve model, right? That it's not Adam and Eve, it's brother and sister.
Yeah.
It is that it intentionally sort of culturally neuters the sexuality of a future relationship, because all of the initial, repopulation is coming from embryos that were grown, not, made sexually. I don't know how to talk about those two things, which I think is really interesting. And when, like, to your question specifically, how long do you think it'll take for humanity to remember that it is a sexual organism?
Yeah, I don't think it'll take too long. And I think that's the problem with Mother's plan, is I just don't think that
one day brother's going to be 13.
Yeah, right. I don't think there's a point where we can really fix all of this, because humans will end up being humans again, and you're just going to be stuck in the same situation. And it will be interesting, though, moving forward, and maybe that's going to be the difference in this society, is like mother now presumably controls the planet, right? Is everywhere.
Yeah.
Daughter has killed the representative of mother in the film and is taking over the responsibility of creating and being mother to all of these infants. But as she does and releases them to the world, they're all going out there where mother is watching and will still be taking care of things. And so are we basically creating a situation that is less Colossus the Forbin project, where we've created this thing that's going to kill us, so we have to settle down and follow its rules, but it's pushing against everything we believe? Or are we creating a situation of like the day the earth stood still, with Gort as this, or Klaatu and Gort as as a society that's welcoming this care, that is being these watchers, that is watching them and making sure that they do stay in line without questioning it?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. It begs, like, how far does the programming go, right? How far out it has mother planned the repopulation, and will humanity? I mean, do you think she's sincere when she says humans can be wonderful? Is that the line? Humans can be, humans can be wonderful. She says this. Do you think she's sincere?
I think she is, because I think she's probably seen it, especially with daughter. I think that she can recognize that humans can be wonderful. It just,
as long as we euthanize the dumb ones.
As long as we euthanize the dumb ones, exactly.
Do you think there ever will be a plan? And I don't think we get this from the film. Two questions that I don't think are answered from the film. One, is mother truly no longer in the bunker?
Oh, I think mother will always be everywhere. I think that representation of her will be gone. But I think that
part of the system.
She's written in, exactly.
Okay. And two, do you think that there is a place where humanity will be free of the need for mother? Do you think that's in the cards? Because this movie is not one full of hope. And that's pretty dark.
I think that humanity will hit a point where it no longer needs mother, but I don't think mother will recognize that and will constantly be saying, "You people, I just have to get you back in line." So
it makes me wonder a little bit if one of the secrets of the success of the bones of this screenplay is that you can make it a repetition, right? That mother, that who knows? This is definitely the third time that mother has created an acceptable human, or a human to be acceptable. But how many more times has she repopulated the planet and failed?
Oh, that's dark. Yeah, right.
Right. That's part of I think the smarts of the script is just where you can place it on a timeline. It works very, very well. What do we know about Sputore? Sputore.
Sputore? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure how you say his name, but Grant Sputore, first film, very much somebody who had been a commercial filmmaker, like a very prominent commercial filmmaker who had done, commercials for an Australian also. So like University of Western Australia, Toyota, Alcoholics Anonymous, he's had award wins for his commercials all over the world. This was his first movie. He must have known Michael Lloyd Green, the screenwriter, beforehand, because they came up with the story together. Michael then wrote the script that ended up on the blacklist, and then the two of them ended up, and then he ended up directing it, and has right now Godzilla X Kong Supernova
Wow.
2027 as his next film. He had been, what was the other project that he had been doing? Oh, he was going to work on a sci-fi thriller called Augmented, produced by Margot Robbie, but that seems to have fallen by the wayside. So yeah, I'm curious. Hasn't really directed much else. Has produced some other things, but and did some TV, but largely I think must still be just focusing on commercials. And has a podcast, Pete. Have you heard of the Commentary Cast?
No.
From what I could tell, they only did one season. But I mean, there's a good chunk of episodes in that one season. Sputore would have directors on to essentially do a commentary of one of their movies with him while they watched it. And so, like, Mike Flanagan came on with his lovely wife to talk about Hush. And so he and Kate Siegel came on to talk about Hush and another one of his movies. I can't remember what the other one was. And just, a whole bunch of varieties of different recent filmmakers whose films largely are in the world of streaming. And so you're not getting the DVD commentary anymore. And so he wanted an opportunity to say, hey, let's do some of these movies where we can actually do a commentary, and started doing that. And so it's a great idea. I need to check it out, but it is one of those that either you need to know the film really well or listen along while you watch the movie.
Fascinating. That seems like a thing. Yeah, that's definitely a thing to check out. I want to change the subject just briefly for you, because as we're watching this is an Aussie film.
Yeah.
Generally, right? And you did a whole CinemaScope on Aussie exploitation films, Mad Max. Right. And how does this fit in to the lineage of some of the sort of post-apocalyptic sci-fi stuff that you talked about? Do you see the threads?
You can see some of the threads. I don't think this falls into quite the level of exploitation that we were getting with those kind of exploitation films. Like, this doesn't have kind of that exploitation vibe that you'd get in films during the 70s, 60s, 80s. This definitely feels more just kind of like a straight down the line post-apocalyptic thriller. But I do think that there's just elements of like those sorts of worlds that had been created in Mad Max and things like that, it feels like, sure, you could see some lineage through all of that.
I mean, there's hardly an Aussie accent in the place, right? Even Rose Byrne's accent is completely softened.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you wouldn't know that any of this is Australia. I was wondering.
All right, well, terrible question. Forget I asked it. I take it back.
I was wondering if the beach where they filmed her bunker or her little crate, it's kind of one of those black sand beaches. Yeah. And I know that there's a very famous one in New Zealand, Paihia, that like the piano filmed at. Maybe there are some black sand beaches in Australia too that they filmed at. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised that one of the producers of this was a very prominent New Zealand producer. And so, so who knows? But anyway, I think that it represents well for Down Under.
We talked about Clara Rugaard. She got this. I don't think it's novel anymore to say that she won the role via self-tape. I think everybody's doing self-tapes these days. So, of course, people are winning roles via self-tape. But she is from Denmark, and that's a win at a distance. And again, we said she's extraordinary. She's really, really great. Can't wait to see her grow up into more meaty parts.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not familiar with any of the other projects she's done. Like, she just did in 2025, Juliet and Romeo, a musical rom-dram, and it's kind of a spin on Romeo and Juliet. I don't know. Was it any good? I have no idea. But she's keeping herself busy. The only other thing I've seen her in was a Black Mirror episode she did, Maisie Day. So I have seen that one other thing.
I had not connected that. That's right. Yeah. That's where I knew her from.
Yeah.
Nice. And Hilary Swank, obviously, she's good.
I actually really like Hilary Swank here. I think that she plays this lost character well. She carries the like I always bought. She carried like some trauma from whatever had gone on before outside in the real world. I thought there was a really interesting element with her character that they gave her this draw to religion. Like we see her at one point when she's like laying in the operating room where she's kind of been locked in. She's got like a little cross that she's made out of like wicker or something, and she's just doing a little prayer. And then when we see her at the in her crate, she's got a whole wall of like religious iconography and all that sort of stuff. This is a character that has this draw to some sort of praying to a god in some sort of capacity, where she's like looking to something to save her and everything. And I think it's interesting because Mother has kind of taken that role. And I think it's interesting when Mother comes into the crate at the end and looks at all that stuff, it almost is just like, oh, she's such an idiot. Like she's buying into all this stuff. I just thought that was such an interesting element of her character that I think is an interesting addition, that did she get that from the people who raised her in the cave? Presumably,
Just a thought experiment, because if I found myself wondering why, like I like her, but I was wondering what an even smaller movie might embody, because we have, the way the movie stands, we have her come in to introduce daughter to the outside world. And I started to wonder if that sort of neuters the experience of daughter discovering the outside world for herself. And if that becomes where the concept of the movie starts to strain against itself, that we rely on woman to expose stuff that daughter may have been able to discover on her own.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess for me, because what woman brings to that is an element of fear and danger that I don't think daughter would have had she gone out into the world on her own. Like, I think it would have been a little more of that naive view of everything and just kind of almost looking at everything with wonder, right? Like wonder, exploration, because woman is there. It immediately introduces this sense of threat. And you can't stay here. You can't, like, you don't understand. Like, be quiet. Like, all of the things that she's doing wrong. She's going slow. She's talking too loud. She's not ducking. She's climbing on things to look at stuff. And mother or woman is the only one who's kind of like making us feel that this is dangerous. Like, there's something happening. I mean, by the time we see that ship flying over and them trying to run to the corn to go hide, like, I don't think, had that happened without woman there, I don't think it would have had a sense of threat or fear. And so I think we needed woman to be there, the way that I read it.
Yeah. That's fair. I think I generally probably agree, but if there's any place that's going to make stars fall, it's in this. And I don't know why I just didn't connect, because I'm with you. I like Hilary Swank a lot. I don't know why I didn't connect with this part of the film quite as much as I wanted to. And I don't want to just be critical for being critical's sake.
Sure.
But there is this space where I wonder if there was more of daughter getting to explore the outside on the inciting incident of the mouse, and maybe be introduced to the threat later of daughter, but to already feel like there is a greater exposition of her own agency and breaking of trust in the bunker before Hilary Swank comes in and confirms it. That might have made the movie feel a little bit more whole to me, even though I had a good experience. So, criticism for criticism's sake, I guess. But
yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, I will say, to that point when daughter she has a moment sitting on the beach on the kind of the driftwood. She's kind of sitting there thinking, looking around. It's a beautiful beach. I mean, granted, there's a giant shipping ocean craft that is like beached itself right there next to her. So it's not exactly a beautiful view, but it still is pretty enough. It's a beach, something she's never seen before. The dog comes up, something she's never seen before. All of these things are new to her. But what she can't get past is there's really nothing for her here. And what she needs to do is go back to mother and go back to her brother that she left behind. And that was actually really interesting. But it did make me wonder, would it have warranted her maybe not having such a good sense of direction and being able to like get back like that? Like she gets back with no problem. And I was wondering, I'm like, how did she remember all of that?
Well, it's
like,
a trick of the camera. She only walked about 50 feet.
Yeah, it's really
the beach is like right there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I mean, who knows? But yeah, it did play in one of those ways where I was just like, I would have, it would have been interesting at that point to see her do a little more exploring on her own before she realized I need to go back, you know?
Yeah.
I just think of they created the brother as a ticking clock. I guess that's really why.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that was a pretty good ticking clock. The fact that they can incubate from embryo to, baby in 24 hours.
My goodness.
Yeah. Nice work if you can get it.
I talked about the mom in Demon Seed having to give birth to a baby in 28 days. Like that's an insane amount of time for her body to go through that. But same thing with an embryo. Like what is happening to that child as it develops from an embryo to a full newborn size in 24 hours? I just can't even imagine. Like those kids are going to have real problems later in life.
Pretty good. Right.
Bad joints or something.
Yeah. Just very, very soft denture.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I really liked this. It was a great surprise for me. Oh, one last note. Did you notice the book that I kept trying to look at the book that woman had that she was reading? And I finally caught it.
That she was drawing all the pictures in.
She's drawing all the pictures in. It was The Gods of Mars by Edgar Rice Burroughs. And when you read about that, what's interesting about that story is its characters misled about the true nature of their world and an outsider exposing the deception. And I was like, oh, okay. Very clever.
I see what they did there.
Yeah.
Except for Burroughs is nuts. And so I bet that book was even more bonkers than anything in the movie.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move into the back half. But first, let's take a quick break.
The Next Reel is a production of True Story FM, engineering by Andy Nelson, music by Zabutan, Sergei Quadrado, Oriel Novella, and Eli Catlin. Andy usually finds all the stats for the awards and numbers at the-numbers.com, boxofficemojo.com, imdb.com, and wikipedia.org. Find the show and the full archive at truestory.fm. You can follow us from there too and learn about membership. Check out the merch store at thenextreel.com/merch, and if your app allows ratings and reviews, please consider doing that for our show. You just find names that are going to trip me up on first read? Is that what it is? Make me sound like a rube?
Sergio Quadrado. That's fantastic.
All right, Andy, how'd we do at award season?
For a largely straight to streaming movie, it still managed to get some notice, and that is because it had more of a release in Australia. It had 4 wins with 6 other nominations at the Australian Academy of Cinema and Television Arts, or essentially their Oscars. It was nominated for the Byron Kennedy Award. This is an award that goes to an individual or organization whose work embodies innovation and the relentless pursuit of excellence. But it lost to another film we've talked about on this show before, The Babadook. Yeah. Hilary Swank was nominated for Best Supporting Actress, but lost to Magnolia Mamoru in Nightingale, and was nominated for Best Visual Effects or Animation, but lost to Spider-Man Far From Home. At the Australian Guild of Screen Composers, it won for Best Score. At the Australian Screen Sound Guild, it won for both Best Achievement in Mixing for a Feature Film, and the Andrew Plain Award for Best Film Sound Editing. And it also was nominated for Best Editing at the Australian Screen Editors Awards, but lost to Ladies in Black.
Ladies in Black? I haven't even heard of that.
Nor have I.
All right. Well, maybe one day. One day. How to do at the box office?
Well, we're in the Netflix zone with this one, Pete, so don't expect much. Grant Sputore had a budget of... I guess I can't say. Yeah. All I can find is that it was produced on, quote, a low budget. Oh, Netflix, they make things so hard. The film premiered at Sundance January 25th, 2019, where Netflix acquired the U.S. rights. They then released it on June 7th. Apparently, it did screen enough to earn $643,593 at the international box office, which is about $798,000 in today's dollars, but that is all I have.
Wow. That is so sad.
I know. They make it so frustrating, Netflix.
And let me tell you, I did watch this in the headset on the big screen in my virtual cinema. It looks great.
Oh, it's a beautiful, visual effects, everything plays really, really nicely. Yeah.
Truly. So I loved it. I had a real blast, and I think it is so interesting so far that all 5 of the movies we've talked about in this series so far kind of bring a different perspective to AI doomerism. Don't worry, it's all mostly bad, but just bad in a different way.
Yeah, right. That's about it. That is about it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, and I would say if you did listen to all of this, even though you haven't watched it because you love being spoiled, I would say don't judge it because it's Netflix. Go check it out. This is absolutely worth watching. Interesting concepts. I bought The Future World. And I mean, it earned so much more for me than I had expected. So definitely worth checking out. And one I would absolutely watch again.
100%. Oh, man, what a relief this movie was.
Oh, no kidding. No kidding. All right. Well, that is it for our conversation about I Am Mother. Next week, we are wrapping up the Thinking Machine series with Brian and Charles, a very different kind of AI story. I see Pete smiling over there. He's so giddy about this one. This is a Welsh comedy about a lonely inventor and the robot he builds from a mannequin head and a washing machine. Grant Sputore gave us a god who remakes the world. Now we get one who just wants a friend. We'll see how the series lands next week. And now, let's do our ratings.
Letterboxd.com/thenextreel. That's where you can find all the ratings and reviews for all the shows we've done across the Next Reel family of film shows. What are you going to do?
Man, I first watched this and I was like, yeah, that's really, really enjoyable. I'll probably give it 3 stars. And then I started thinking about it and processing it and prep for this. I'm like, this might be 3.5, maybe even 4. I'm still kind of torn on that line, but I think that they're doing so much good here. I think they made a great film. I'm just going to say 4 stars. 4 stars and a heart. I had a great time. I'm going to say
that
one.
too. 4 stars and a heart.
Wow.
I am thrilled by it. And I think I can't, I can tell you my quibbles. I told you my quibbles with Woman, but man, they're not strong quibbles. No, they're feeble quibbles. I think there's room for this movie to improve. Like you said, I'm absolutely watching this again, and I can't wait to show it to people.
And I can't wait to see what Grant does next.
Yes.
As somebody who has not directed enough films, likewise with Clara, who's not been in enough films, these are people I want more of. I was just thrilled in all capacities with this. And so I'm very curious to see where they all go next.
Andy, that is such a good point. I think that's part of the reason I'm so enthusiastic about talking about this film is that it is exhilarating to come across a movie that is new to both of us, where the individual creators make it to that list of people whose names I'm looking for. I can't wait to see whatever they do next, because this was real, a real deposit in that bank of fandom. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I hear you. Well, that averages to 4 stars and a heart. And you can find the show on Letterboxd at The Next Reel. You can find me there at Soda Creek Film. You can find Pete there at Pete Wright. So what did you think about I Am Mother? We would love to hear your thoughts. Hop into the Show Talk channel over in our Discord community, where we will be talking about the movie this week.
When the movie ends,
Our conversation begins.
Letterboxd give it, Andrew.
As Letterboxd always doeth.
All right. What did you pick? You're tickled over there.
I didn't pick this one because of the rating. YKG only gave it 2.5 stars. But it really made me laugh because I was thinking about this with all these movies. Can movies stop being named Mother or Mommy or Mama? Please, we have reached our limit.
Well, that's good. Mine is the only thing that I think about when I read this review is Cronenberg. Let me tell you why. Because Eric gives it 3 stars and says, what if we accidentally kissed in the super fast embryo growth chamber? And I go to The Fly.
Oh.
Like,
right.
So gross. I just made the movie worse. So anyway, thank you. Thank you so much, Eric.
And then you said that, and my brain immediately went to Together, that new horror movie,
no, you're
right. They're born fused by the lips.
God, you're so right. With Franco. Oh, the Franco couple. Franco and Annie from Community. Why can't I think of Dave and what's her name? Oh, she's awesome. And they just made a mess of each other in that movie.
I haven't seen it yet. But
you haven't seen it yet? Oh, no. Andy.
I'm surprised you have, because I haven't seen any review come through.
No, you're right. Well, that's it. Haven't we? We're clear on the fact that I'm behind on my reviews.
Yes.
All right.
Yes,
Thanks, Letterboxd. I'm working on you. I'm working.